Hey everyone, it's Jeff Fisher of High School Football America. Aaron Boggs is the man on the other side of the box, and we are just so excited. New partnership here at High School Football America, and it means something when we announce a new partner because we don't take many on here. You got to be pretty darn good to become a partner with High School Football America. I guess I'm bragging a little bit, but Aaron, thank you for taking the time. We're going to take the time today. We are going to talk about mouth guards and not the things I was wearing back in 1968 when I was playing football. Thanks for taking the time.
Oh, what an introduction, Jeff. Thank you. You make me feel like a rock star this morning.
Well, we're not going to play any music here or anything like that, but you guys are kind of rock stars when it comes to reinventing a safety aspect, not only of football, but all sports with this export mouth guard that you have out. You and I and Trish and Laura came down together in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, and I got to see this product up close and personal. Carbon fiber, custom fitted mouth guards. Again, 1968, I was wearing a piece of I think it was rubber, and then you kind of cut it up in the corner so it didn't cut you back here in the mouth, something like that. That's not what we have today. Let's start there. Let's tell the people out there a little bit about the export mouth guard.
Absolutely, Jeff. Well, thank you for the partnership. We're very excited at Export about this. And the heart of our people in our company is really to protect the athletes that are engaged. Number one, I think that Export brings to the audience today is that it's a perfect fit. We leverage the dental community to do a scan. It's 3D laser printed. And so my nephew, who is an eighth grader, middle linebacker here in Central Ohio, he said the greatest thing to me as he was testing this product in the football season last year. He says, Aaron, I forgot that it was in. So many times as we think about the mouth guard, it's not a positive experience because it becomes intrusive to our gameplay. And so the performance edge is that because it fits, you can breathe, you can talk, it's protective, but the mental side of it is it doesn't get in the way. I was at an MMA event and I had one of the fighters come to me afterwards and he says, I think that I lost that because my mouth guard came dislodged. This doesn't fit. You know, the
Right.
blow and bite. It's somewhere in there. So it's not only not protecting, but it's not helping you in your performance. And so Export is really excited to be disruptive with technology in the mouthguard industry.
And going back to it was a flippant comment from me about in 1968 it was a piece of rubber, but why hasn't the protection improved over 5, 6 decades?
Well, I don't know if I can say that it hasn't improved. I just think that when you think about the last 10 years, the amount of disruption that happens virtually in every product or every industry, there's still some to be had.
Hmm.
And when it comes to mouth guards, it takes a lot of work to patent a product, to design things that are, intraorally fitting. And so I think there's others out there that are attempting these things. Our real advantage was when we were able to put carbon fiber in the mouth guard. The level of technology and the advantage that carbon fiber brings, and I connected that because I love sports cars, and I had a Shelby, and the Shelby had carbon fiber rims and a wing, and the strength of carbon fiber 5 times stronger than steel. And so the ability to protect the mouth, the teeth, obviously dentists are really happy with export. But then there was another component of carbon fiber, which is 7 times more absorbent than traditional materials used in a mouth guard.
Hmm.
And so that level of protection, while it fits perfectly, is allowing the athlete to receive that ultimate protection and performance.
And I remember talking to one of your team members, Ted Blevins, about during our first conversation about the mouth guard because I started testing him. It's like, okay, well, what does make this better? And he gets into the carbon fiber and all that, and he tells me a story that I'm going to let you tell because it's incredible, and it's not a football story. It had to do with hockey and the strength of this mouth guard. Can you tell that to the people?
Yeah, so our founder, Sig Satelli, he's one of the most brilliant people I've ever met. Do you remember when David Blaine caught the bullet?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so SIG built the throat apparatus
Oh
that
wow.
caught that bullet. So he's a serial inventor. He's kind of pie in the sky guy, and he's never not thinking about building things. He's a second generation German dental lab owner. And his son-in-law, Tanner, played in, I don't know if it's semi-professional or just league hockey as an adult,
Hmm.
but unfortunately, Tanner took a puck in the mouth, and it really destroyed his the framework of his jaw, his
Right.
mouth, his teeth. And so Sig went, that's what created, we read about great companies and great products start out of some form of adversity, and that's where export really started, was how can we protect the mouth, the teeth, and then ultimately the rest of what comes through that from an energy absorption. And so that's how export was started. The origin story,
Yeah.
uh, hockey and a puck. It's funny, Jeff, because last week we were working with the Ohio State University and we were doing some testing in the lab, and we were shooting at this head apparatus that was holding our mouth guard and our competitors. We were shooting a puck at it 55 miles an hour. And it was kind of like back to this origin story, what will happen. And in slow motion, you can see in this video that the puck starts to bend around the carbon fiber because it's so strong. And you
That was
start
the
to think
story I was
about
talking about. I'm like,
how
wow.
powerful is that for moms and dads to just have a higher degree of trust that a mouth guard is actually doing what you hope it does?
Yeah. And one of the things, what you just said there with moms and dads, one of the things that impressed me, folks, when I met with Aaron and with his team and various members over the course of several weeks now, is, this is, yeah, you're disrupting. And yeah, down the road, it's probably a great, financial investment. But your team, you specifically, this is about safety. It's not about money. And I would love for you to talk a little bit about really where your heart is on this when it comes to the safety, whether it's football, whether it's hockey, whether it's lacrosse, go down right on down the line.
Well, I think, Jeff, I appreciate the question. The answer to that from what's in my heart is, I have friends that are Ohio State football ex-players, right?
Hmm.
I don't think we talk about this enough, but moms and dads are very concerned about the amount of injuries that are happening, the speed that the kids are playing today.
Hmm.
And a couple of my friends don't allow their children to play football. Can you imagine being in elementary school, being the
Not at
son
all.
of a former NFL wide receiver, the son of a former Ohio State Buckeye football player, and looking at your friends and saying, I'm not allowed to play football? But that in itself, Jeff, shares with you what's in the mindset of moms and dads.
Yeah.
And flag football, my goodness. Number one, you got a coach out there that thinks he's going to be be the next NFL coordinator, running plays with kids that are still developing, and they're running into each other without helmets and protection. Our team and I am really set out to leverage technology, leverage the innovation power that we have access to, and the trajectory of our experiences to disrupt the mouthguard industry, not so that we can make money, but that we can actually make a difference in helping kids.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stories in and around that motivate us.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about kind of the process here of getting a mouth guard and all that, but it brings up a good point because I think, especially moms, right? When moms hear, "Hey, I can protect my son, my daughter, X times better than anything, out there on the market right now," they're going to be like, "Oh, that's great. I want to get it as soon as they're starting playing sports." So, is there a minimum age? I mean, where does the mouth guard really start coming into play for you guys? What kind, you can you fit a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old or 12?
Yeah.
What was the minimum there?
Yeah, great question. So our product line is being developed out with new materials, patented materials. So we're really excited about the types of versions that we'll be able to have. currently, when you go through a dentist and you go through the scan, the perfect fit, it's really 12 years and up
Okay.
because the teeth are changing, the mouth structure is changing, they're growing. We have done some at the 10-year-old level, but they're going to need, they need to look at it every 3 months. The structure of this mouth guard really lasts all season, if not even beyond. And so that is one of the reasons that moms and dads are really excited because they don't have to keep going back to Dick's every 3 weeks to buy a $40 mouth guard that doesn't work.
Yeah.
They get one that works and it stays in for the whole season, if not beyond.
So let's say you've got that young man or young lady who's 12 years old. I mean, how does this all work? I mean, is there a fitting from a dentist? Break it down for people.
Yeah, so we prefer to leverage the dental community. Number one, because the dentists buy in and they help to educate mom and dad as to why this mouth guard is almost like a medical device and a performance enhancing device, not what you get over the counter in a commercial setting or online, right?
Hmm.
And so this is that leveraging that help in the education process has been a huge help for us. We do have impression kits that we can send to the home, and those work as well. And so you don't have to go to the dentist, but the dentists have been so great for us in that community that we try to get the dentist the work and send them to somebody. And then also, Jeff, as you know, one becomes 100. And so when we send an athlete to a dentist, they want to know, okay, how can I do more of this? Because they're all looking at it as it's great marketing to be connected to, who's the team dentist for the high school football team. We're actually helping to build that bridge,
Yeah.
and then we get them all done with the entire team through that dentist. And so we like to stay in that vein because it just works better.
One of the things that I was thinking back to throwing that piece of rubber in my mouth in '68 was, you huff and puff a little. It's not easy to breathe.
Right.
I haven't worn a more of a modern one these days, but the breathability thing, when your team has talked to me about that, I'm like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. You're out there, whether it's soccer or football, whatever the sport is, you want as much oxygen in your body as you can. Talk about the breathability of it. Is that a word, by the
Yeah,
way,
I think it's
breathability? Is breathability a word?
breathability. Yeah. And we're currently doing an oxygen study called the fourth quarter, in which what has happened with additional oxygen in your body when you get to the fourth quarter, when you're able to breathe in the previous 3 quarters. And Anthony Schlegel, who was a middle linebacker for Ohio State, he was a strength and conditioning coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He is running a facility called the Armory, and we're going to be doing some oxygen studies around that, in which he's been fitted with the mouth guard, and we're going to do some simulation, a lot of running, and then over an elapsed period of time, see how the body responds with a mouth guard like ours that you can breathe with versus the competition, which is, dislodged or causing a blockage in the airway. Uh, I think I come back to my nephew because I'm learning in this process. Is this thing working? What's his experience? Not only did he say I can breathe, but he was drinking Gatorade on the sideline with it in.
Wow. That says
And
a
it come
lot.
back to he forgot. He never took the mouth guard out the entire game because it's that comfortable in the setting of performance.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. And, you're not kind of resting on your laurels. And I know we're asking you to look into a little bit of a crystal ball here, but there is some technology that is going to just elevate this to a crazy cool level.
Yeah.
Can you kind of give pull back the curtain a little bit on this?
Well, I remember sitting at that table in Georgia with you talking about what the future holds. And we just can't get there fast enough, but we're really excited about putting sensors in the mouth guard. And I have in my hand the prototype for this. I shared it with you before we got
Yeah,
on.
it's cool.
What this is going to do is it really leverages biomarkers, and the intraoral capture of this through saliva allows us to be super accurate with what's happening in the body. And so, what do we do with that? There's a couple things. Number one, we're able to, through this technology to report in real time to mom and dad on the sidelines, on their phone, on their Apple Watch, the biometrics of their athlete. And this isn't just young athletes. We have adults that are leveraging this in virtually every sport, in which you think about what we do with an Aura ring or an Apple Watch and all the things that we're digesting from a health and wellness perspective. And a lot of that isn't that accurate, but intraorally you're able to get these biomarkers. And then we leverage AI to do data correlation off of baselining so that when there's a change in certain biomarkers, you're able to correlate that to some form of impact degree, even to, we're not there yet, but we're very close to being able to understand when a concussion has happened, right? And so the other things and why the NFL is very, very interested and why the UFC makes sense is because they're leveraging sensors already in other things. And what this allows us to do, and in the future, is the sensors will speak to each other and they'll correlate that data so that we can get to things that we've never dreamed about getting to as the sport is happening.
That is just, you know what, I'm so happy I met you. Even if we didn't become partners, just to know that
Yeah.
there's people like you and your team out there doing some things to keep our children safe.
Yeah.
And I think the sky's the limit as far as what you guys are doing. A couple more before I let you go here. We've talked about, other sports and all that, but what 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 makes it important, I think, is when you get some players out there, old guys like me that
Yeah.
that see this and go, man, I wish I had that in 1968. And I know your spokesperson is a very famous person, Tiki Barber. Talk to me a little bit about some of the people outside of the youth
Yeah.
area that are going, man, I'm so glad to be part of Export Mouthguards.
Yeah, Tiki Barber's been tremendous for us as a spokesperson because he's a recognizable figure, but he's also a wholesome figure.
Yeah.
And he cares about the underprivileged youth. It's part of his history and Rondé's. Actually, Rondé's wife runs a pretty large foundation for the barbers that directs dollars through that foundation to help for safety of underprivileged youth athletes across America. And so that was kind of the genesis of the first conversation is, um, yes, okay. Tiki says these words like, yeah, I don't have fond memories of a mouth guard, right? It's a necessary evil in your trajectory of growing as an athlete. But if the protection level is increased, the breathability, the performance enhancing pieces, where the technology is going, he absolutely could see it becoming less intrusive and more adopted as a part of your performance game.
Hmm.
And that's where he got really excited is yes, it's protecting the mouth. Yes, there's technology coming that's going to be gamified for moms and dads to be able to participate. But if we make a difference, if we protect one kid, how do we get this out faster? And so Tiki stepped up and couldn't wait to be kind of the main spokesman for the company.
That's awesome. Folks, if you're watching this on X or Instagram or our YouTube channel, make sure you go to highschoolfootballamerica.com. We have links up there how you can get to these people. There will be an ad on every page of High School
Yeah,
Football America. You can
thank
get
you
to
for
them that
that.
way. Very welcome. We're happy of the partnership. Going away here, I'm going to give you one last, it's not even a question. I'm going to give you, the audience here. Talk to the mom out there, the student athlete out there, the dad out there, thinking about, well, I don't want to go to Dick's. I'm going to go to I'm going to switch to export mouth guards. Give your little elevator here. Why?
Yeah, so I'm going to go to my sister-in-law.
Okay.
So Sarah has been tremendous in learning about this because we're putting this unique product out there, and the carbon fiber is it just looks cool, and so there's an elite part of this making sense. Right? It's protection, but when Xander, my nephew, came back and says, this is different. This is like nothing I've ever experienced. And he's the middle linebacker for eighth grade team. in which when I went and watched them play, Jeff, it had been a while since I'd been to a middle school game.
Yeah.
These are young men and they're
There's been a
hitting,
change since you and I were playing.
they're they're hitting like we remember in high school
Yeah.
at such younger levels. And so she starts to do the math and the calculation. How many times in a season is he throwing his entire body with all of that force into a play?
Mhm.
Now knowing that this mouth guard and the way that is working is completely different than what he did have. In her words, she says, I will never ever let him have anything but export mouth guard because as a mom, I believe it is doing its job and the other ones were like paper over his teeth.
That's a pretty good analogy right there. Bad analogy, but a good
That's her
analogy.
words.
Well, it seems like you got it's sort of like the hair club for men. You've been throwing a lot of your relatives.
Yeah.
Not only the owner, but the
We make
user of the
great
mouth
test
guard.
subjects, right?
Exactly. Hey,
Yeah.
free research, right? No doubt about
Yeah.
that. Hey, Aaron, we are so appreciative of the partnership now. We look forward to growing together with you.
Yeah.
Folks, seriously, go to highschoolfootballamerica.com throughout the year. We're going to have great information up there. It's not just this interview that we're doing, but we appreciate you and look forward to working with your team. And hey, folks, seriously, we've been in this business for 20 years. We don't hawk a lot of people. It takes a lot to become a partner. They've got to be the real deal. These people are the real deal. Aaron, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you, Jeff. Let's do it again.